Okay, good afternoon, folks. So I'm a little bit late. I've just not been feeling too well this morning, so I've just had a bit of a sleep just to try and clear this headache. So I'm not quite with it at the moment. Where are we? So Arminas, how you doing, bud? Ben, how you doing? Husker, that's a new face, I think. Morning or afternoon, wherever you are. Sorry, I get the odd migraine just once in a blue moon, but I don't get them with the headache. I get where the eyes go funny. I can't see clearly and I feel a bit sick. So I had one come on about an hour ago. So I took some tablets and got my head down for an hour. So I just feel kind of half awake a bit. I had to just set everything up. So, I feel better anyway. Everything seems clearly anyway, so that's the main thing. So, hope everyone's had a good weekend. Sorry about the last 2 days. I've just had problems with Guardian Angel Trader. It's not working at the moment. I can't seem to get it to work. I have messaged them a couple of times, but they're a bit slow getting back to me, which is a bit of a pain, but I got to carry on anyway, so regardless. So we'll see how we get on anyway. So everything's up and working, I think. Let me just check. Yeah, we seem to be okay. So we got a channel. Let me just mark everything up a little bit. So, wow, that was a bullish day, wasn't it? That was Friday, wasn't it? Wow. So I'm assuming, are we all-time highs? Maybe not. I think we've got the top of a gap fill there. Oh, no, it's not, actually. That might have been a previous day of some sort. So I believe I can get rid of that. I believe that's all-time highs, I think. Markets have been weird lately, haven't they? I know Bitcoin's got hammered lately. I thought a lot of the altcoins as well. It's pulled back a little bit, but Bitcoin went down to 60,000, which is odd, isn't it? What is it, 68,000, just over 68,000 at the moment. But it's hard to know whether that thing's going to recover or whether there's more downside or whether we're at the end of the bull market. Not that it's been a good bull market. It's been a bit odd, isn't it? Still feel a bit out of sorts, to be honest with you. Little Hammer, how you doing, pal? It's been a bit odd lately. I still feel a bit odd, actually, to be honest with you. Let me just mark this chart up again. So we got a channel down there, a couple of pushes up and down. Are we just ranging at the moment? It's hard to say. Let me just have a look back. So that move down would have cleared maybe any previous liquidity from late afternoon on Friday, but there's quite a fair bit of liquidity there, I would have said. So it's hard to know where I think price is going to go at the moment. I've got the 10,000 tick chart up here. Let me just sort of zoom out and have a little bit of look where we stand. So where are we at the moment? Mainly, we're kind of ranging, aren't we? We've cleared that quick push up this morning has cleared any previous liquidities. That was was that the 4th of February? I suppose it is. So I'm guessing all-time highs is up here somewhere. One of these 2 days, actually it goes a bit higher, doesn't it? I think so. We'll keep an eye on that. I have this now just to sort of get a quick glance at what the market's doing overall. Sometimes it's a pain, sometimes constantly zooming out, but I don't know what's going on here at the moment. Let me just see if I can. I don't think there's anything like that. No, it's a bit too early, really. Yeah, I can't kind of get a clear picture in my head what I think's going on at the moment. We gapped up overnight, but that recovered there, I think. That was kind of early morning UK time. We pulled back and had another big drop. Is this pushing up? It's hard to say at the moment. Is there a channel down there with a break? Maybe a new high? It's hard to say. Let me have a look. So, let me have a look at Bookmap. So, what's Bookmap doing currently? They're a kind of a mixture. So, let's start with down low. So, we've got buyers at 25. which is down there, which is quite low. We've got more buyers a little bit lower at 15, which is down here. So price could continue down, but we've got sellers around about the kind of 45 to 50 level. Let's do this. So 45 to 50. So there's 45 and there's 50. So we've got sellers in this area. So we've got a channel with a break. We're aiming into this area where there's sellers. So is this going to hit sellers and continue down? It's hard to say, really. Yeah, it was I just, for some reason, I couldn't open my Ninja so I messed around with it for ages. I managed on, I think it was Friday, sometime on Friday, I got a phone call, kind of a live phone call, where he hooked up to my computer from a Ninja tech guy. And he said, the only thing I can see is there's something wrong with this, with Guardian Angel Trader. He didn't know what it was. He said, there's something wrong with that. We couldn't seem to get it to work. So what he did was put an older version of Ninja Trader on the previous version, and we got it to work. But I kind of got onto Guardian Angel Trader and looked at their kind of knowledge page and tried to figure out what was going on. I couldn't. The only thing that I was able to do was delete the Guardian Angel DIL folder. Now, if I go into folders here, what they advise you to do, Guardian Angel Trader, was go into Documents, go into Ninja Trader 8, go into Templates, and delete that DTP. Now, if I try and delete that, it will not let me do it. I keep getting this up. Now, I went into, for whatever I was doing, I was looking at YouTube videos and they were saying go into properties and go into security and change the admin. I could not get it to work for some reason. The only thing I was able to do was to delete the DIL file, the Guardian Angel DIL file. And once I did that, I was able to open Ninja Trader. So I don't know what's going on, to be honest with you. It's a bit of a pain because although, you know, I'm pretty sure I'm sort of grown out mostly of those revenge trading days, I still like it as a backup. So I've messaged them again and they've not got back to me, which is a pain. So I'm going to see what happens over the next coming days, and I'm tempted to try QuantGuard, which is another one. Now, to get the full package where I can trade my 20 accounts is $150 a month, which is a bit pricey. But if I use someone's code, I can get it half price for the first month, which is $75. So I don't mind trying it for a month, $75. But I like having it just as a backup, just in case you've done a full clear reset of Windows. Yeah. Yeah, I considered it. The only pain in the arse thing about that is you got to get all your software back, haven't you? Now I'm pretty sure if I get a clean reset, then I can insure. But then when I built this new computer, I think a couple of months before Christmas, but then I had to get on to the guy from Flowbots to get my Replicanto down, and that took a day or so, and it was I was trying to avoid it at all costs, really. We got this move down with 2 attempts to push up. We're trying to avoid it at all costs. Now, I have my Guardian Angel Trader set to 1 loss and I'm out for the day. I'm pretty confident that I'm far enough forward that I won't do anything stupid. So I'm not too concerned about that. So I'm going to give them a couple of days. If they don't get back to me, I might just try this QuantGuard and see how I get on. Now, Guardian Angel Trader for the most works well, but now and again it does seem to have a problem, and I don't know what you guys think. Sometimes it can be a bit of a pain when something goes wrong. It's not that straightforward just to delete it and then reinstall it. You seem to feel like you've got to jump through hoops just to get it. So I'm going to give them a couple of days and see if they get back to me. And if they don't, I'm going to pay $75 and try it for a month, Quant Garden, if I think it's worth it. $150. If it stops you damaging accounts, it's a small price to pay, I think. But I appreciate the fact that I have paid £300 or whatever it was to purchase the lifetime license for Guardian Angel Trader. And when it works, it works. So hopefully they'll sort things out for me. But the last time I had problems when I built my new computer, the guy who owns it was good enough to hook up to my computer and he sorted it out for me. So hopefully he'll sort it again. Was someone else not having problems with the guy who sells it? I don't know, Ben. I don't know, Ben. I spoke to a trader buddy of mine, Marlon, over the weekend, and he said he'd had problems with it as well. When I mentioned I'd had problems, he messaged me, and I think he said something like that it's Guardian Angel Trader. And when I got the Ninja Trader guy to come into my computer, he hooked up the sort of wirelessly. He identified that was the problem. I don't know why, but it was nonetheless. But I do like having something like that as a backup. You never quite know what might go wrong that may make you panic in the future. And while it's available, I think it's useful to have that as a mental backup. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it is a pain in the arse, isn't it? I don't mind. If it was easy to get it back, it wouldn't be so bad. Because I think sometimes it's a good idea to have a wipe, isn't it? Just because there's that much crap you build up on your computer and folders and files, half the stuff you probably don't need. So sometimes it's a good idea just to wipe everything clean and start fresh. You know what I mean? But we'll see. We'll see how we get on anyway. See how we get on. I still feel about a sort from that headache. I'm seeing clearly, but just now and again, my wife used to get migraines and I started, but I don't get a headache. When I'm looking, if I'm looking at a face, there are patches of the face missing. It's weird. But if you get migraines like that, you feel a bit sick. They're certainly much better than the ones with the headaches, that's for certain. But I had it about an hour ago. I was just getting in the bath. And I looked in the mirror and I got that little flicker of light, but hopefully. But I did have a little, obviously I couldn't trade Friday because I couldn't get it working, but I was watching, what's his name? Bart. And he got hammered on Friday. Anybody else watch Bart on Friday? Anybody identify what he was doing wrong constantly? I think he took 5 trades. He lost 4 and won 1. He was counter-trend trading constantly. I was looking, I was watching it thinking, what are you doing? Because he's quite an experienced trader and a nice guy. It was a bit frustrating to see him losing like that, but he just kept counter-trend trading for some reason and just kept getting battered. Which is a shame because he's a nice guy. Have a look. So I got sellers at hold on a second. I got sellers at 60. Which is around about there. So you can see there's 120 contracts there. And there's some at 75. I have a feeling this thing may continue. Now that channel looks okay to me, so if we can get a bit of a break here, maybe get below there. There are 75 contracts to buy. There, where is it? Round about here. Can't take that one. It actually is technically a second entry long, but there's no room to the tops. It is working along there, but I'd like to see a break here. We've cleared maybe some liquidity there, but there are sellers up there, which is good, but I can't buy that. It may work, but there's no room to the highs, so I'm leaving that alone. Point of gap. If it's easy to get rid of it, you probably do it. Exactly right. Exactly right. And I'm wondering whether that's why it works as it is. But what I found is, I probably shouldn't say this, but I do anyway. I just deleted the dill folder, and I was able to open this. Now I could change my contract size if I want to. What is going on here? That is probably not a terrible trade. It worked quick. Trouble is, I'm leaving price at the moment because it's flickering a little bit too much. That actually worked. Now, if that had been a bit slower, I would have been tempted to have a go there, because we look like we're clearly going up at the moment, and that was, you may argue that was a triple test. It was certainly a failed breakout, but that worked really quick. But I don't like the way it flickered like that. So I would have been quick enough anyway. It didn't look good on here. But yeah, the whole idea of it is to stop you doing something stupid. And if it's as simple as just deleting it, that's how they make it how they do. But if you go into the Knowledge Center on the Guardian Angel page, it tells you how to manually delete it, which is to delete that DTP folder. But I could not delete it. I tried everything I could to delete that. I looked at videos on YouTube how to delete files that won't allow you to, and I went for every different process I could find, and I could not make it work for some reason. So I am trading without it. Having said that, I'm pretty sure I'm past all that silly stuff. This is last stop saloon for me. I ain't blowing accounts again. It's just not worth it. So we'll see how we get on anyway. But I only trade one contract, so any type of loss is minimal. Even a bad loss, $250, an average loss, $150. I'm okay with that. That won't do you any damage. Not that you can't recover from. So, yeah, I mean, if you took that, the trouble is, it moved that damn fast. You may not have even got in. But that bar there was 20 odd ticks, so I go for 12 ticks, so that would have worked. As a trade, though, I don't mind it. We're clearly bouncing. We've cleared any previous liquidity that may have been here and took off. So I'm going to move this up here. So we have got some strong sellers at 75. Now, it doesn't look like we are possibly moving up towards the tops, overnight highs. But you've got to be a little bit careful. I don't think anybody took that I can see. Yeah, I can't see. There may be a higher low here. Trouble is, we've got a little bit of support there, so just for safety, I don't really want to be going along into that lot. 1, 2, 3. You may argue that's a triple test. The trouble is, we've got a little micro channel coming down here, so I want to let this do its thing. That's moving down quite strong. So if you did get in there, you made your points, but it came down there and took the stop out. So little micro with a bit of an overshoot. So interesting to see where this goes. Get allowed trading time locked me out for no reason. My allowed trading time is 7 AM to 1. See, I used to have something like that. I ended up stopping that in the end, and I just put it down to 1 loss because, in fact, there is a button. If you look on your, trader chart, there is a button on there with GAT that if you press it, it'll say, do you want to lock yourself out for the day? And it will lock you out. So, but I think for me, you know, what I found is sometimes if I didn't take a trade within the 3 hours, I thought for me, I'm okay coming back and having another look because I still had it locked out at one loss. So, but what I found is if I was sitting there for 3 hours and I didn't take a trade, if I finish at usually, let's say 5:30 UK time, it's only 1:30 in the afternoon UK time. In fact, no, tell a lie, it's only 12:30. So there's plenty of the trading day left. So I didn't want to miss out. Now, when I first started trading or starting to build accounts, I felt I was knackered after 3 hours, mentally tired, but I don't anymore. So I think it's okay for me to continue trading. You know, especially if there was time left and I wasn't taking any trades. I'm just going to take a bathroom break. Excuse me, just 1 minute. Okay, channel break, new low. Where do I think price is going to go? I wouldn't be surprised if it does continue up. We have had a break and a new high. Maybe this is 2 legs up and this is going to continue down. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Ben, I traded about 8:30 UK time, but most profitable I'm looking at is yeah, I do notice that there are some trades I miss, which is why I am kind of now if I trade my normal time 5:36 and I've taken a trade, I don't mind walking away, but I think what I'm going to start doing this week is maybe finishing at 6, gonna have a bit of dinner, maybe 6:30, and then come back for an hour and a half, because it's a shame to miss some of the day if I haven't taken a trade. Now, I wouldn't go long here at the moment. There is a higher low, but that may trap longs. This could come down a bit. We've had kind of like a move down, 1 leg up, 2nd leg up. So this could come down a bit more. It's certainly possible. There's a higher low there. Would I want to take a short here? Not really, I don't think. There are sellers at 60, which is up here. They're quite far away. I wouldn't want to go long either. Trouble is, it may trigger you and push up. It may be a leg and a leg. So, I'm just leaving this. Yeah, it's a tick off a doge, isn't it? So I'm just sitting tight here at the moment. I'm not sure where the price is. See, if I zoom out a little bit, we've got this kind of move down. With kind of 2 attempts to push higher. It could come down lower. I don't think I like that, but you see what I mean. We've got this move down, 1 attempt to go higher, 2nd attempt to go higher. And if you look at this, it is kind of turning around the same area. So we could be ranging a bit, or we could have a second leg down. That higher low is likely to get stopped out. That bar's massive, but I don't like how it's finished. So now there is a possible failure here. I don't really want to take that either because this bar's large and I'm not sure what's going on here, but there's a second entry short which is triggered and it looks like it's pushing up, but I don't know how far this is going to go up. So I'm just doing nothing here. It's a little bit sideways here, so you've got to be careful again. So I'm not 100% sure I know what's going on. A lot of the times we go up, across and up, and that may be the case. We may be clearing some liquidity up here. I'm not 100% sure where I think price is going at the moment. So for that reason, I'm just doing nothing. I'm certainly not taking the failure. That's 22 tick bar. I'm just a bit uncertain here. It's triggered that failure, and I don't like what's going on. More structure. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's not super clear at the moment. We've had this kind of big move down, but we could be ranging, in which case it could come down here, or we've had a channel with a break, a new high. We could pull back a bit, and we could push up and test the overnight high. It's hard to say at the moment. There is a lower high there, but look at it. It's congested, and that makes it way more risky. So the lower high may work. There's like a double trap failure there, but you may get into that, and it may trap you as well. So just for that reason, it's a bit riskier. And that ATR is rather large, isn't it? So if you make a mistake, you don't want to make a mistake, really, when prices like that. Now, there's a lower high there. That may push up, stop that out, and give a quick shove. Or it may come down, stop out that bar, and come down a bit. I'm not sure, really. So for that very reason, I'm just sitting tight here. Looks even more congested on the left chart. So it could go up, could have a quick shove up, or it could come down. It's a shame to miss some of that. Yeah, it is. Now, what I found sometimes is, maybe going back a year, I had the tendency to come back and try and retrieve some losses. I think like most of us do at some point. So that's the reason why I set my trading day for between 2 o'clock in the afternoon to maybe 6 o'clock, because I found I had that urge, that kind of gambling urge that you get, that you want to try and get your money back, which is why I set my thing. Now, I don't really get that urge anymore. I'm set to 1 loss a day. If I lose 1 trade a day, I finish for the day, because I sometimes tend to find myself taking riskier trades, and I don't want to do that. So my win rate at the moment is about 92.5%. So it's good at the moment. So I'm taking good setups, good trades, and I want to try and keep it that way. So I think I operate better on just 1 trade a day. But, we know December and a chunk of January, the trading setups have been really poor. So, if you sat here for 3 hours and you're not getting many setups, it makes sense to put a few more hours in, which is what I'm going to start to do. But if I do get a trade in my normal trading hours, I'm okay to come back. I don't mind coming back. I don't get that urge to trade anymore. I find trading quite boring now, which is what you want. You don't want it to feel exciting, because that does wear off in the end. It starts to get boring, which is what you want. I used to turn up to the charts feeling like my hair was stood on end. I was excited, and that's like how you feel when you turn up to a casino. Not that I've ever been to one, but I'm guessing that's how it feels. And I don't want that anymore. So, looking on this left chart, there is a bull bar and there is a higher low. But because it's so congested, you do not know what it's going to do here. There's going to be shorts trap there, and bulls as well. So, there we go. That's the higher low being taken out. I'm guessing it's probably going to come down here as well. So it's very tempted. We push up. Often we'll go up, across, and up. So I get the tendency to buy here or buy here, but you're buying right into that top line, and you can see what's been going on the previous 5-6 bars. So going long here, super risky. And if you went long there with a higher low, triggered you, went up, I don't know, a 0.3-4 ticks, and then came down, stopped you out. So is it going to get down below there, or is that bar going to hold? It is the lowest point, so it's certainly going to be the safest place if price is going to push up, but we'll see. But you're going to have short stops up here for certain, so it may well, now it's broken that bar there, it may well push up and stop those out. Been trying the 500 tick chart in the last few weeks. It's been working really well for Pats, especially. Yeah, do you know what, Ben? I maybe going back a year or so, I was looking at the 1,000 tick chart for a bit. Yes, it's weird how things do work like that sometimes. It's definitely a bit odd. The trouble is, I found I was trading too many charts then. See, at the moment, I'm trading the CL chart, oil futures at the moment as well. So the trouble is, I've got that little space. I've got two not ultra wide, they're 34-inch curved. And I've got another one sat over my computer. So I'm running out shy on space for starters. But what I like about the thing is about the 500, if you go down to the 500, you've got to reduce your profits a little bit and your risks. I get that as well, because the ATR is going to be smaller. So I have looked at other charts before, and sometimes you can get a run of certain tick charts that work well. But I'm okay at the moment, but if things don't improve, then I may have to. But I have got two charts on the go anyway. I've got the CL chart, and I've got this as well. So hopefully I can get something out of that. So I wasn't surprised it didn't stop that big bull bar out, because out of all this lot, that would have been by far the least riskiest one to buy. It came down to the bottom, stopped out that bar. That's premature for me. And then turned up. That didn't surprise me. And as we know, we push up into a range. Often we'll push out the top, the kind of opposite corner. So I wasn't surprised that it didn't stop that out. So are we having a second leg up? Now, I am aware as well that I've got that drawn like that. So there's a possibility this may turn down and it may be rangy. But if I had to guess, my guess, it's going to move up here somewhere and continue up a little bit. Honestly, I can see on the 500 tick chart our max 1 point scalp will be profitable. Yeah. See, I'm really surprised Mac hasn't change all this 1 point stuff. If you're a very experienced trader and you trade a runner, then you can probably make it work. But when you got ATRs of 4 points odd, it's too risky. I mean, let's say, for instance, you took that big bull bar there. The risk, so let's get it fair. Let's be fair. Say a tick above it. You're risking 6.5 points to make a point. That, to me, is madness. Now, that is my opinion. So, you know, don't think I'm making out I knew better than Mac. I don't. But you know, going back 10 years when Mac started putting some of his earlier videos on, you'd have never had a risk like that. You'd have very, very rarely had a risk half of that. So if you're a newer and inexperienced trader and you're risking sometimes points like that, you're going to get mentally battered going for a point. But yeah, I see with a 500 tick chart, everything's a bit smaller, and yeah, a point would make sense. I'm guessing if you go to a 500 tick, in fact, let's try it. I'd say your ATR is going to be about 1.5, isn't it? Maybe 2. There we go, 1.77. So yeah, risking a point, you know, that would make sense here. Trouble is, if I'm making a point, I'm making $50 per account. At the moment, if I take a trade, I make $150. So I've got to take 3 times the amount here. So I know we don't get a huge amount of setups, but one thing I like is even one trade a week would get me around about $12,000 per month income coming in. That's just one trade, which I generally get anyway. I think last month, January, I think was an absolute crap month. I still got $10,750 odd into my account, or into my accounts over all the 20. So even on an absolutely appalling month, $10,000 is certainly a pretty good wage, isn't it? Now, granted, I'm not withdrawing that because I'm trying to grow these accounts, but you know, it does tell me that I'm quite happy to sit by and wait for a really good setup. We had one on Thursday, I think, didn't we? An absolute jaffer of a trade. Where was it? Was it that thing there? It was that one there, wasn't it? I think it looked a little better, I think. Was it the day before? I can't remember now. I can't remember. It was quite early. I was early in this. I can't remember where it was. It was a really nice setup anyway. So, you know, even at very worst, if I only get one trade, how many counts? Well, I've got 20 Apex. You can see them there, but I have just passed a one take profit trader. I just had to do one micro this morning, so I'll have a take profit trader. I wanted to start slowly adding 1 or 2 others. So I've got 20 Apexer accounts. They're around about, the lowest ones are 600, the highest ones are 1600. But about 8, 10, 12 of them are around about $1,000. So it's been really slow lately, but once they get up to around about 3,500, then I'll start taking some regular months. So yeah, I'm quite happy to wait. My patience is my strongest asset with trading. So, you know, if I don't get a trade, I can sit here for 2, 3, 4 days without any real problems. So are we going to, we've had a break there and a new high by a tick. We've had a pullback or a channel with a break up across and up. So it does look to me that price is slowly moving up. But you still got to be a bit careful. There is a little bit of support and resistance there, and we are bouncing there. So possibly second entry long off here, maybe. Would I want to go short here? No. So if we get a second entry long and it's at that EMA, I don't think that's a bad trade. I'm looking at setups up here, so there are a lot of contracts for sale up there. So price does look like it's slowly continuing up, and there are some around 70 as well, which is there. So channel breaking a new high. That's okay. That's in 1 bar. In fact, I'd be more inclined to probably do that. In fact, it's negligible, that. So lower high here. If that's bearish, I'd expect that to trigger and lose. So a second entry short there. Testing this top line, I don't think will be terrible. That would have worked. Certainly for 12 ticks. So that is a second entry long there. Is that a bad trade? It's hard to say. I don't think it's terrible. I'm just not sure at the moment. Are we coming back into what may be a range, or are we going to push up? There is a second entry long there. What do I think about it? It's not in a bad place. You've got bars trapped here, possibly. Trouble is, we're at the top here, and this is a bit of a crunch time. So I'm going to hold back here a little bit, because it is possibly a bit rangy. It is going to work, I think. A higher low will be a better option, because there's a lower high there, which is looking like it would get stopped out. It is a second entry long. Trouble is, we've had a break new high. Now, even without this break, we've made new highs again. So, see how we get on. See if this comes back and picks up this, what may be, now that's where your stop would be. Sometimes it'll come back, hit your stop and push up higher. Bear me just 1 second, bud. It's all right, I was waiting for a higher low. See how that came back there to 1 tick above there to hit your stop. Just give me 1 sec, bud. I'm just going to see if we get a higher low here. What was it on? MNQ. Erased all your accounts. Bear me just 1 sec, bud. Are you trading on the 2000 tick chart, bud, are you? I'm just looking on the chart above. Two and a half thousand ticks. Okay, bear me a sec. Okay, so does this look pretty much right, does it? Where did you go? Long here, or did you go short, or what? Let me know what you did, bud. You went long there, did you? Sent me a screenshot. Let's have a look. Yeah, I see it. Would I take that? No. To be honest with you, at the moment, I think it's really unclear where prices are going. In real time, it's much better. So it does look like a channel up. I'll give you that. So I'll tell you what I think. I'll tell you what I think. Let me have a look at this. So you basically took that one. So let me just draw this. So I would draw that there like that. That's where I would have that, yeah? So initially I would draw my chart like this, and then we push up, make a new high, come back, push up, come back, push up. So I would extend my chart. That's where I would have it. Touch in there, and then 2 legs back, that swing there. So I'd be looking at that like there's the break, and there's the new high. So when we have a break and a new high, I give it a little bit of space to figure out whether it's going to reverse, consolidate, or continue up. So you don't know whether this is going to continue down here. So I would probably draw that like that. And so we got a little micro. We got 2 pushes to a new low. So it could push up. So I would then start this with something like that. So maybe a little micro there with a break. Now, if you've got a micro channel here, which you kind of have, we're looking for a break and a new high, which it did. There's your break. There's your new high. Now, we already know we've had a break and a new high of this larger channel. So at the moment, we don't know where price is going to go. Is it going to continue up? Is it going to consolidate? Or is it going to reverse? And what this did was consolidate. You can clearly see it there, can't you? I'll probably do something like that. So I wouldn't take that because there's no room to the highs. You know, we say there's got to be enough room to the highs. So yeah, I wouldn't take it personally. Now, I've got this drawn as a little range. Now, you probably wouldn't know we were going to range until we've had these bars. So that's not why I would take it. When you've been trading a while, mate, you just get used to looking at the picture and you either like it or it doesn't feel right. At the moment, I'm not really sure what's going on. So we've had a channel up there. We've had what looks like a small break. We've come down, cleared liquidity and made a new high. Now, there's always a possibility that your chart might be slightly different and you may do that. But that's a fair size move up. So a lot of the time it will mess around before it works up. So that just doesn't look right to me personally. Because we got a little micro with a break and you've got to be out before the highs. It actually went up and made a new high, but then continued to chop around. So basically it was a break and a new high. That's what I would initially see when I put that bar to there. Now, it's only a small break, so I wouldn't guarantee to tell you that that isn't a break. What I will say is we do seem to be coming away from the top. See how it's at the top here? So often that will lead to a break. But a lot of the times when we have these kind of bigger channels, it messes around or do what I call it takes the scenic route up. And it chopped around there, trapping traders. So you got trapped and stopped out. There was maybe a triple test there. Traders sold there. Eventually, they got stopped out. So it's just choppy here. But to be honest with you, you wouldn't have seen. That's what you'd have been looking at there. So does that look like it's going to push up? It may do. But what can you identify across the top there? Resistance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's clear resistance there. So you're going long into resistance. Even if you take that away, I used to have a piece of paper, a laminated piece of paper next to it was sellotaped to one of my older screens, and it would say, taking a trade, look left. And I can see left there, bounce, 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 bounce. There's resistance there. And if we put this in place, you can clearly see it, can't you? See how it's touching once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. So that's why I wouldn't take that. But when you've been trading a while and you avoid a lot of this, you'll see it. It just doesn't look right to me. It doesn't feel right. And that's just down to experience and gut feeling. You get a feeling when there's a nice trade, and you get a feeling when there's something risky. I think it was a trade that Thomas Wade took. He may have done, mate. He may have done. But if you look at Thomas Wade, he does take his fair amount of losses. Now, if you're trading this on a sim and you haven't been trading long, I wouldn't tell you to not take it. It's useful to experience losses, because if you come across that picture and you take it and it losses and you lose, and you see that picture again in a week or two's time and you take it again and it loses, sooner or later, further on down the line, you'll see that picture again and you'll go, something don't feel right here. There's support here. I've done this before. And you leave it alone, and it goes up and comes down and would have stopped you out. That's when you're starting to learn, and you can start to see these areas where you've been in trouble before. And as I've explained before, it's almost like we've all driven into a town before or somewhere and thinking, I've been here before. There's something that seems familiar about this. And it's that type of thing. So your brain is constantly building snapshots, little pictures of people, places, bars, whatever you do in your life. Your brain takes on this information. Now, even if you might have driven through a place once before and you didn't pay much attention, your brain still picks up these little bits of information. And sometimes when you go through it again, you're thinking, I've been here before. So that's how I describe it. So that to me looks risky. We got a little micro. You've got to have enough space to have a break and a new high. And it did what it was supposed to. It had a break and new high. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough room to the highs for you to get profit there. And then you ended up becoming the victim of price bouncing and rejecting off resistance there. So don't worry about it, mate. It's how you learn. It feels painful to learn, but you learn better from your mistakes. So that's how I would describe it. I hope that might have helped you a bit. Just notice your t-shirt. Is that a paid advertisement? No. I got 2 of these. The reason I've got it on is I've stuck a bit of weight on lately, so this is one of my bigger ones. I've just crept into the 16 stone mark. But I think when Apex had this new, they call it Apex 0.30 or something or other, they sent loads of people emails and said, you want some free merchandise. So that's the reason I've got it. It's not advertising for a mate. It was one of my larger ones that's not quite so clingy. So yeah. So it looked perfect, yeah. The trouble is, you can clearly see now I've put that line there. You're going along, and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Channel up, break, channel down. Yeah. See, if trading was as straightforward as it may seem sometimes, everyone would be making a lot of money. So learning what a second entry or a higher low is a very small picture of the puzzle. The real skill is identifying the correct context to take that trade. And that, to me, the context is telling me we're hitting support. So we may have already had a break and a new high, which means it could consolidate, it could reverse, it could carry on. But then you could quite easily drag that out a bit and it wouldn't still look that bad. So maybe this is going to push up and make a new high, which it did. Unfortunately, it chopped around. When you get this consolidation, there's uncertainty. the traders want to go long or the traders want to go short, which is why it tends to shoot up and down. This is just congestion, really, before, you know, there's enough buyers to push price higher or there's enough sellers interested to bring price lower. So this is dangerous, really. Just consolidation, choppiness, uncertainty. So I think, really, unless you're really experienced, I'd stay out of this. I generally leave this stuff alone because you never quite know. So yeah, so that's what I think, mate. So I hope that's helped you a little bit, but don't worry about taking losses. We've all done them and we've all learned our lessons by them, and that's kind of how, you know, how trading works. So don't beat yourself up about making mistakes. And the ones where you lose are usually the best mistakes to make because they're the ones where you really learn, you know what I mean? So, yeah, don't beat yourself up, mate, about it. You know, you just can't get to a payment, yeah. Do you know, I'm going to be brutally honest with you, mate. While you're making a certain amount of mistakes, it's really not the best time to be trading for money. Because it can get you to be frustrated. You just said to me there, right? Yeah, you're frustrated. What doesn't help with frustration is losing money. And when you're frustrated, you tend to take risks. And I'm telling you this from experience, mate. I can't tell you how many times I got close to a payment and just decided market looks going up. Let's just buy it here. And I ended up blowing accounts. I did it so many times. And you kind of, while you're getting frustrated, you're not in control of your emotions. So you're really best off not trading with money. So I would be more focusing on maybe, you know, just having some, what I'll say is if you've got an account, keep it at one. Don't get many accounts. The time to grow your accounts is when you are making some money. Because I'm telling you this from experience, mate, I threw a lot of money. You know, I've done 1,400 evaluations, 1,400. So you can see how many stupid things I did and how much money I threw at it out of that exact word you just used, frustration. So if you are on a PA account, I would only do one at a time. You've really got to kind of keep your losses to a minimum while you're learning. And it does take time. It's took me 5 years to get to where I am now. I'd have never guessed it would have taken this long. So it is frustrating, but I really would stick to one evaluation and one PA account because that will minimize your losses and frustration. The more risk and the more money you've got in the game, the more scary trading can be and the more likely you are to revenge trade. And you really want to try and avoid getting into those habits because you end up going for a period that I did, really doing stupid things. So really, really honestly, if anyone's relatively new to trading, and I agree it's good to have some skin in the game because it's good to feel that little bit of responsibility, but I would only ever have one at a time because you don't want that responsibility to be weighing that heavy down on your shoulders that you feel panic. You know what I mean? You want to try and trade with a bit of risk, but not enough to really create pressure because I tell you now, it's bloody horrible. Pisses me off. Little hammer, 95% of users will never make it to a payment level. So it is difficult, but it is doable. Don't think it's not. The reason 95% don't is because they give up or they get themselves in debt or something stupid. Trust me, I had months where I had $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 on credit cards, and luckily I had some affiliates to be able to keep chipping them away, but I can't tell you the pressure when you feel forced to make money, and I just wasn't mentally equipped and ready for it. So all I try and do with you guys is try and guide you based on how I've been through things and the troubles I've had. And you really want to try and avoid that eye pressure. You really do. I know that there's always going to be a certain amount of, if you trade full time, that you know, you've got to still try and make money, of course. But as your experience grows, those emotions will become less and less, and it won't hurt as much. Have you noticed? I take a lot less trades, and I risk one account now. I used to, risk one contract. I used to trade two. It was too much. Yes, the kind of the urge is to try and build your accounts as quick as you can, but it's the most dangerous way of doing it. Slow and steady wins the race, and I can't tell you how many times people told me that, and it went straight in one ear and out the other. I thought I knew better, and in the end, I ended up coming back to the right way of doing things, and then accounts will slowly start to rise, and you'll hit a point where you'll start to think, this is working. You know what I mean? Give me a second, let me have a look. Lance is one of the few funded trader artists. I wouldn't consider myself an artist. Piss artist, yeah. When it comes down to whiskey, but it's just kind of, you know, sometimes when you actually start to get the message, it's after you get close to it in rock bottom. It's not the most pleasurable place to be, but sometimes you've kind of got to be on your knees before you feel like you can kind of get back up again. You know, one thing I do pride myself on is not ramming affiliates down your guys' necks. Now, I know a lot of other traders, they make videos, they do this, that, and the other. I feel guilty doing that because I know how much money you can throw at this, and it's not pleasant. So I think it's much better to just be straight with people. It's not about me making money off affiliates. Those affiliates are a little bonus for doing a good job as far as I'm concerned. And if I'm honest with you guys and straightforward, you know, if you give out good stuff, you get good things coming back, don't you? But I know how hard it is, and I know how much I've thrown at affiliates, and I don't, you know, I'd rather you guys do it the right way. If that helps you, it makes me feel good as well. So I really, really would keep it to one at a time. The time to, when you can make money 2 or 3 months the right way without taking big risks and gambles, that's the time then to slowly grow. So, you know, don't be in a rush so much. I know it sounds hypocritical, me telling you that, when all I seem to do is rush. Prop trading, do the math, tell you you can't succeed. You can do trading, but maths tells you that you can't succeed. Yeah, I think trading, let me have a look, let me read some of those. Trading for me is the hardest job I've ever done. Now, I'm 56 years old. I've been around the world a little bit, you know what I mean? When I say around the world, I mean I've done multiple jobs over my lifetime. I went for a period of time when I was young and not knowing what the hell I want to do, and I was in and out of all sorts of different jobs. And this is by a million miles the hardest thing I've ever had to learn. Not that because 5 years is too long to learn it, it's just how long it takes. So if you wanted to be a lawyer or a doctor, 5 years is nothing in that business. You can earn more money as a trader than you ever will as a doctor or a lawyer. The potential for earning huge amounts of money is there. It just feels like a long, hard slog because of the amount of stress and money you lose. And it's that rush to try and grow too quick. It doesn't work. Profitable real money for a real account, real money. I'm okay. Prop firms, BS. Prop firms are great because they give you a taste of feeling what it's like to have risk. Now, if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to trade your own account, say minis, you've got to have $500 in your live account before you can trade one mini. Now, when you're new, you're going to be blowing accounts, and it's much better to blow an a PA account than it is your own money. It's just much cheaper to learn. Now, the slight downside is because things are cheap, the tendency is to take risks. So sometimes cheaper isn't always better. But in my experience, you're much better to go the prop firm route and leave your own money alone. I don't even trade my own money at the moment because up until recently, I haven't fully trusted myself. And you can lose a lot more money a lot quicker trading your own money. That's for certain, because that's how I started. Let me have a look. $1,400 evals and 3.5 million in blown margin. Yeah. 28,000. Oh, absolutely. At $20, I'd probably say more like 35,000. I would say that's how much I've spent over the last, and that doesn't include. I'd say probably I've spent 45,000 since I've started trading. Realistically, yeah, a lot of them I blew quick when they were 90% off. I'd say probably 400 of them when they were 90% off. But that's how much trading had control of me. I felt like I had hands around my neck most of the time. But fortunately, I've had affiliates. So I make and I'll be honest, I make an average of about $700 a month on affiliates. There are times up until maybe 7 or 8 months ago, I probably averaged $1,000. So I'll be perfectly honest with you. Since I started streaming 3 years, my affiliate payments are a fraction over $45,000. So that really has covered my expenses. And I'm lucky to have that. A lot of you guys haven't got that. And it could be a lot tougher than I had it. And I found it was tough. I found it was tough not so much for the money, just that mental hold and lack of control trading had over me. I felt like a gambler who couldn't control things. It's a horrible feeling. But I was fortunate to have some affiliate money to help me along the way. So I do consider myself lucky. Don't think I don't. Let me have a look. So you can do prop trading, but maths tells you you can't succeed. Yeah, prop trading is by far the cheapest way of doing it. I would never encourage someone to trade their own account because, you know, to trade 1 minute. If I was going to buy an evaluation now, let's say I blew 3 and passed one of them. So let's say those 3 at the moment cost $30 each. So let's say $100 and then $75 for the PA. So let's call it $175 all in. And I have $2,500 of drawdown. To have that $2,500 of drawdown in my own account, I'd be risking $2,500 as opposed to $175. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Now, the one downside is when you're relatively new, the tendency is to get in before you're really ready. And it's like anything. If something's cheap, you take less care of it. So my honest opinion is it'll cost you less going down the prop route than trading your own money. I'd never suggest trading your own money until you're making money at props. So that's my kind of suggestion. Props are great tools. They are, absolutely. So look, institutional traders do always work with funded. Institutional traders do always work with funded capital, but they should not attempt to blow up the bank. Yeah. You know, I didn't realise up until recently, a lot of times when institutional traders take trades, it's not always their decision. A lot of the time, it'll have to be routed through someone else, so they just don't have control over huge amounts of money. like I kind of thought. I thought they may get a certain budget of whatever, and they trade how they see fit. It's definitely harder to be a retail trader because you've got to do it off your own back. You don't have any proper guidance. You don't have any support. You don't have any, top quality knowledge. You don't get a wage while you're learning. So when you start earning money as a prop trader, as a retail trader, you damn well earned it. That's for certain. I like 25, 1500. Yeah. I've always floated with a 50 for some reason. It's just something I've always preferred. I've done probably about 3, maybe 4, $150, but you've got to get $9,000 worth of profit. And most of my valuations were traded aggressively and stupidly. So I just think the profit you've got to make and the drawdown just suits me personally. But yeah, whatever suits you, whatever works for you, do it. But I definitely would only ever have one at a time, because while you're learning, there's no point in risking multiple amounts of money. So if you try and get 5 accounts and you buy, say, Replicanto. So you bought Replicanto, there's what, $200. So you've spent $200. You copy trade 4 and trade one of them. If you do something stupid and blow that one account, you've just copied that to 4 others and you've blown 5 accounts. So it makes absolutely no sense risking 5 times the amount if you're still learning and blowing accounts. So only ever have one evaluation and one PA account. When you can start to make money over 2-3 months, that's the time to start growing. That way you'll keep your losses to a minimum. Because it can get damaged. I wouldn't be surprised if people have lost homes learning to trade. 9,000 eval profit, then 9,001 in payout profit. Yeah. So I like it, but absolutely the 25s, there's nothing wrong with the 25s either. So I would definitely stick to the 25s or the 50s and just get one. I know the tendency is to want to try and grow them just so you can say to yourself, if I make money, I'm going to make 5 times that amount. If I can get to a 2,000 payment and I got 5 accounts, I can take 10,000. That's how I've thought, but it never works. You've got to go through this period of losing experience. And so the easiest way I've described this before, and I'll do it again quickly. So I think you guys know what a kid's seesaw is, don't you? You know what a child's seesaw is, yeah? It's that thing, innit? Yeah, you get one kid on the left. When you start learning to trade, your skill level is down here and your emotional level is up here. So everything you do or try, you're going to struggle with. You haven't got the skill to be able to win trades or enough of them. And the emotions are that high, you can't control things when things go wrong. But over time, as your skill level slowly starts to climb, your emotion level will slowly start to drop. It happens slowly, so it's hard to see it sometimes. And in between your blow accounts, you'll have ups, you'll have downs. 1 minute, everything will be feeling fantastic and you'll have a great weekend. Next Friday, you'll blow your accounts and you'll be pissed off and you'll have a shit weekend. You'll go through all this roller coaster of blowing accounts and losing money and emotions. And sooner or later, something in your head will just go, I can't keep doing this. Now, I did that, and I did that probably 30, 40, 50 times before I actually started to slowly make some changes. And usually what will happen is your skill level and your emotional level will start to flatten out or plateau, whatever you want to call it. And that's when things slowly start to change in your favour. You notice when you take less trades and be much more selective, you start to make money. And when you realise this, and you think to yourself, actually, I can do this, I am doing it, those emotional levels will start to drop and become less of a problem. And that's when your trading career starts to make headway. And you'll realise this, and I realised this last week, And I still went through 2 periods of blowing accounts because I was okay 80-90%, but I still had those few emotions. But sometimes you've still got to get rid of those cobwebs to finally make good decisions all of the time. And this is where I am now. And trust me, when you get to this level, your accounts will grow slower, but they will grow and they will hit that level. It just takes a bit longer. And then you realise this is what I should have been doing a year ago, 2 years, 3 years ago. So don't worry about trying to rush things. And when people say to you, slow and steady wins a race, and you let it go in and out of one ear, it really, really does work. So, and then all of a sudden, your confidence and skill level will be up here and your emotional level will be taking a back seat. And that is when you start to make money. But during this time, you're all over the place. You're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. And it's frustrating as hell. It really is. But it's changing that slow mindset with exposure to the markets for a long enough period, and still things start to change, and they will. And the reason 95% of traders fail is not because this is impossible, because it takes longer than we all think. And most people will go, I can't do this. Now, a quick example, my brother-in-law started having a go at this. He was talking to me about it, and whenever we visited, or they visit up here, we talk about it over a few beers. And he did it for about 2 years. And the last time I saw it, I said, are you doing any? And his words were me, I just don't need that in my life. So he'd been going through all those ups and downs, and he decided he doesn't need it. He's earning enough money what he's doing. And that's where 95% of traders fall, because they find it difficult. They go for emotions, and they get to a point where they go, I just can't do this. It's too hard. It's too ridiculous. This type of talk, are you doing, Lance, keeps me going through the shitty times. I like talking about it because it reminds me of how much I've changed and how much I've learned. And I know it helps me talking about it. And sometimes when you're frustrated and when you're feeling down, talking about it makes you feel better because it helps you understand it. It helps get it in your head a bit. So don't think this is impossible. It's not. Trading in itself really is not really that difficult. It's all the emotions that come along with it that make it more difficult. But it's a skill just like many others. You know, to be a different carpenter, to be a decent carpenter, you're looking at 5 years really. And same with being a bricklayer, and same with being a doctor. Most jobs, a lot of real careers and skilled careers, can take 5 years, but usually you've not got the emotions. You're getting paid every week and you're getting trained how to do it properly. But that's why it makes this so difficult, because of the emotions and the fact that you've got to fund it all yourself. So as I've said before many times, if any of you guys are pissed off, you've had a bad day or whatever's on your mind, you're happy to message me, because I know what it feels like. And sometimes someone just gives you a few words in your ear, gives you a little lift, and it makes you feel better. I have plenty of people who help me out like that. So as far as I'm concerned, it's about, you know, passing it on. People have helped me, I'll help people. Which is why I've never, or I'll never go down the route of charging people. You know, I know people like Thomas Wade charges people, and a few others. We're forever seeing videos on YouTube. Join my Discord, pay X amount of money and I'll teach you how to trade. You know, I get it if you're a seasoned 20-year trader, but you know, I know Trader Joe, he charges people, and he still has his own problems. So, and what's his name as well? Wilson. I don't agree with it. You know, Wilson still blows counts, and I don't know how you can bring yourself to charging people when you're still struggling yourself. And not only that, you got to look back and think about all the people that helped you and never charged me. So you've got to pass it on. That's what it's about, helping each other. We are back into the overnight highs. Yeah, my guess is we were going to get up here at some point. So all-time highs, I'm pretty sure that's what that's for. 2 legs up. It's hard to know what's going on here at the moment. But yeah, feel free to message me, any of you guys, whenever you want. How long have you been live streaming? I started streaming 3 years ago, last November. So 3 years, 3 months. Streaming, I think, is quite a good idea as well. The reason I started streaming is, well, 2 reasons. One, a trader said to me, an experienced trader said to me, surround yourself with people you want to be like. So that was one reason, but by far the biggest reason, and it wasn't about affiliates, I didn't even know about affiliates then, it was because I thought if people are watching me, are less likely to do something stupid. So it was kind of like accountability. And a couple of months after I'm doing it, I found out affiliates, and don't get me wrong, affiliates have really helped me. But if someone's watching you, you're more likely, you don't want to look like a fool, do you? So that's how I felt if I did something stupid. And I can't tell you how many times I took a stupid trade and I had a compliment like, I can't even watch this, it's too painful to watch, and they disappear. So I've had my fair share of feeling stupid, but if anybody's thought about streaming, I don't think it's a bad idea. It can kind of help you make better decisions, I think. So if you're finding you're taking silly stuff, then maybe try it. I'd certainly support you. What's going on here? But I think a lot of trading, especially when you're new, it's about helping each other. The more experienced people help the newer guys, and it does make life much better to share your experiences and your frustration with other people. I agree. Too many people, YouTube, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know Wilson charges, but I don't know how many times I've seen Wilson blow 20 accounts. I don't think you should be charging people if you're still blowing accounts, because it's taking advantage of people, I think. I don't think it's right. Now, Mac, I ain't got a problem with that. He's a seasoned trader, and he charges people $125 per year. I know on the I Am Trading guy, he does one package that it's $200 a month. I think it's too much. Trouble is, YouTube's full of people trying to make money out here, isn't it? Life just seems like one money-making machine sometimes. I don't agree with it personally. I think you get more respect helping people, I think, especially if people have helped you. Doesn't show his trades because he doesn't want him to mess up mentally. Yeah, I absolutely get that. See, most of you guys who know me by now, I'm quite a wired person. I talk quite a lot. I'm kind of, I don't want to say ADHD, I don't think I am, or I might be, but I've always had a very, very active imagination. And I know sometimes if I talk to my wife, she tells me to slow down a bit, because I'm kind of in your face. It's just kind of how I am. But another thing that is part of who I am as well is thinking out aloud. I do tend to talk to myself sometimes, not have a conversation, but if I'm talking through something, speaking out aloud. So streaming for me does help me. It's kind of almost like a pilot talking through what he's doing. It just kind of helps the process, and it works for me. But I absolutely get some traders, they may feel better concentrating, or they may feel better if people aren't watching them. I get that. I mean, I had, when I was a lot newer, I took some stupid trades, and I did have some shitty comments. But as frustrating as they were, and they made you feel down, I think they probably helped me in the long run. But sometimes, sometimes it does help if someone just tells you straight. I did feel stupid from time to time because I took stupid trades, but once those emotions get you, it's very hard to control them. But over time, I don't get them anymore, obviously. I've been trading long enough now to generally know what I'm doing for the most part. And I don't get any nasty comments anymore, but I did have some pretty miserable days, sometimes comments stick in your head a bit, and but maybe they help me in the long run. Accountability if you can't show people. Yeah. See, I don't know what you guys do in your normal day-to-day jobs, but if you're doing your job and one of the bosses turns up and starts watching you, you tend to want to do a better job, don't you? So that was accountability, I think, was the main contributing factor for me starting to stream and just chat with other people as well. I did find trading quite lonely, actually. But it was the accountability thing that made me start. I won't tell you that the affiliates didn't help. They absolutely did. But I didn't even know about affiliates when I started. I'd only literally just kind of got into the prop world, really. But they have helped, absolutely. They've limited that financial exposure that you have, which is why I tell you guys now, keep it simple and keep it one at a time. I was fortunate enough to have the affiliates, and that enabled me to still do stupid things and not get myself financially crippled, which is why I tell you lot, you know, when you're learning or you're newish, and when I say newish, a year, 2 years is still relatively new, just stick to the one at a time. Providing this stream for new traders, a godsend, showing the reality of trading in real time. Yeah. I mean, you guys would have seen me at me highest, you know, when I've had a payout, and you would have seen me at me lowest as well when I had I don't think I only had what I remember about 3 complete meltdowns on stream. Usually I would finish stream and then have the meltdown. But I think 3 times I lost accounts. I took loads of stupid trades, that's for certain. But 3 times I think I blew accounts live on stream, I think. I think about 3 times. But, you know, trading's a real journey of finding out who you are and changing that mindset. And it is hard. You know, I never understood the meaning of the word journey until I started to trade. And it's like a whole journey that you take of kind of finding out who you are and learning how to deal with, you know, the worst parts of you and the best parts of you. You know, we've all got strengths and weaknesses. When it comes to trading, I had loads of weaknesses and very, very few strengths. My biggest strength, if I'm honest with myself now, is my patience. Whereas it was always in the back of my mind that it was going to be by far the hardest thing that I was going to have to conquer. Because just sitting here when you know your hair's standing on end and you're excited and you're eager to take a trade, sitting there and doing nothing was almost impossible. But it's okay to do that. You've got to go through it. So, you know, don't literally beat yourself up for taking stupid trades and doing stupid things. That's how human beings work when we have emotions. But over time, it'll sort itself out. But you'll have a much better trip if you limit how much you spend. So just be sensible with that. You know, limit yourself to maybe 1 evaluations or 2 evaluations a month, not 10 or 15 in one day like some days I had. It was mad what I used to do. I've sat and blown 10 or 15 evaluations in one evening. Granted, those were when they were 90% off, but I don't recommend it. You just get completely out of control and it mentally drains you. Teaching people is becoming a neurosurgeon, but not wanting them to show you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It takes time. It's not difficult to learn as such. It's like being a carpenter. It's not difficult to learn it. Anyone can do it. It's just, it takes time. And when you're hearing stories of other traders earning $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month, you just see dollar signs and you try and rush it. Now, if you let's say, for instance, you signed up to Mac's thing and he said, I tell you what, I'll pay you $3,000 a month as a wage and then just trade on a sim. It would be a much easier journey. But when you've got to fund yourself, that's what makes it so much harder. Because not only losing a ton of money, but you're completely frustrated, and it's not a nice feeling. My wife used to say, I used to dread you coming downstairs. Not that I'd ever be nasty with her. I've never laid a finger on my wife. I'd just be miserable and quiet. Some days you're kind of either up here and everything's great with the world, or you're down in the dumps and you're really miserable. When you think about it, what Mac is saying, it's the most insane thing you've ever heard. Mentor not showing you how to do it. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, yeah, what I will say is Mac used to go on about, being a lawyer or a doctor. I'm thinking, it's impossible. It can't be that hard. How wrong was I? But yeah, as much as a nice guy Mac is, he does lack, I think, certain teaching skills to break things down for people. But that's nothing about the guy himself. The guy himself is full of good intentions. But, some people are good at trading, some people are good at teaching. I'd say he's a good trader without a doubt. But as a teacher, there are things I think he can make a lot easier for people, as we've talked about and we well know. It's about talking about why things didn't work. He never talks about, okay, there was a second entry there. Some of you may have got caught on that. That's why I wouldn't take it. He never talks in those kind of that kind of way, does he? And you need to explain things to people. There's no point in saying there's a trade there, there's a trade there, there's a trade there. That really doesn't do a massive amount for people. Yeah, okay. My mouth's getting a bit dry from yabbering, so I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break, make a cup of tea. Let me just put that on there a second. So I'm just going to make a quick, let me just read that. We say, where's my girl Karina? I don't know where she is. She does trade. She doesn't trade the same as we do. Karina trades with Renko bars, and I think she is involved with a Discord as well. So I think she just comes in from time to time and says hello. So she does pop in from time to time. So I'm just going to take a few minutes, make a quick cup of tea, and I'll be back with you. Okie dokie. Right, what's going on here? You don't get out of being accountable because you sound like a old boy now. Does the system work? Yes, it does. Absolutely, yeah. I have had a few people say to me, in fact, do you remember Jan that used to come on here now and again? I don't think he trades Pats anymore. He says he put the numbers through ChatGPT and it didn't come up with an edge. But I'm guessing that trade we talked about earlier, the higher low there, yes, it was a higher low. So it was a setup, but the context was wrong. So whether Yam was putting in just the setups, I don't see how you can put AI into. I think AI will probably easily find the setups, but not necessarily apply them to the correct context. So I've been doing Pats long enough now to know it works absolutely. Is Pat's strategy any harder than any other? Not really. The one tricky thing I'll say is with a lot of other types of strategies, you may have a wider stop, so you may get a little bit more lucky. Whereas with Pats, if you get into a trade without the correct context, it could trigger you, stop you out. How many times have we had that done and then it ends up going in the same direction? So, but what I will say is when you get good at Pats, you can have a really high win rate, more than you have on a lot of other strategies. So, you know, I think this is a good strategy. I do. How many other trading strategies can you say this setup will not fail? Very, very few setups fail when you get a really solid setup. Do you get that in a lot of other strategies? Not that I know of. I mean, I've seen people like what's his name? Who's that? Who's the bold trader? You're not allowed to say bold anymore, are you? What's his name? Tom Hugard. I saw Tom Hugard lose 3 trades in a row. Now, as a Pats trader, that wouldn't really happen. I properly read that's the key. Context is the absolute key. You can teach someone what a second entry is in 5 minutes, but applying it to the correct context, that's the real skill. And staying out of trades as well. See, there's a possibility of an overshoot here. We've broken the highs, as we know. So overshoots can do multiple different things. Sometimes it'll pull back and continue up. Other times it'll pull back, push up, make a new high and reverse. Sometimes we'll get a deeper pullback. But I tend to just stay out of this because there's always a possibility it may continue up, or it could do a bunch of things now. So... But it's the context that takes the time and the hours and hours that you put in. Trading looks easy. That's what makes it frustrating. But if you're patient enough and wait for a good setup like we had on, I think it was Thursday or Friday, that was a great setup. If you're patient enough and wait for them, trades like that just do not fail. I can't tell you the last time I noticed a trade that good that failed. We're talking years. So if you get good at Pats, you know, you can have a really, really high win rate and have a really good lifestyle. You know, when I started trading currency, I had screens and charts everywhere. I'd have a screen on with 6 or 7 major pairs. I'd have the hourly chart, the 4-hourly chart, the daily. I just had charts everywhere. And then when I first came across this was refreshing. One chart, one time frame. So, looking here at the moment, now, can you see all these sell orders here? 87.5, which is there, and 90. Now, this overshoot may well push up Now, what I find is if we get an overshoot and it pushes up, makes a new high, a lot of the time it'll reverse. So with that overshoot, there is a second entry short there. Sometimes they work. I've even seen Mac mark some of those. Second entry short, because a lot of times it will trap longs here and come down for a second leg because the overshoot. I tend to avoid them anyway. But I can see there are some buyers at 82.5. So where's 82.5? I'm guessing just below 82.5. So there are buyers there. Might actually be a fraction below. So getting in here might be a bit premature. We could come down for a second leg. But then there's always a possibility that there may be something slightly different. No, I don't think so. My guess is that bar will come down below that line. But there are sellers there and buyers there, which is probably causing price to do this. But my guess is this will come down below. So if you got in there or you got in there, a lot of the times we go down, across and down. It's a bit congested. It's too early to get in there and premature. And a lot of times it will do that. Depends. If it's a strong enough market, sometimes price will just continue on up. But yeah, excuse me a sec. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. I'll be 1 minute. I come back, I'll be surprised if price isn't below there. So I'll be at 1 quick minute. Okay. Okay, my guess is this now comes down. So buyers down here, maybe a fraction lower, and then sellers at 90, which is there. Those sellers are gone. So if you got in there, it's premature, or even there, it's premature. This was asking to come down all day long for me. I expect it to get below there because that was the second entry, which is there. So I expect it to at least get a tick below there. It may hold, but my guess is that's what I'd expect. So there's the second entry long. That for me is too high. If that was sitting above that EMA, that might be a safer place, but So, a little bit of a channel. We've made a matching low. See, my only slight concern is there a seller. Is there a sum at 87.5, which is below the top. I prefer to ride this up. All sellers are above price. See, on this chart, it's not an overshoot. So if we get a move down with a bull bar off that bottom, I may have a go at that. But we've got to get below here for me. We've got a channel down, 2 attempts push on. Let's see. I think there's easy liquidity below here. Interesting. Thomas Wade's in a trade now. Oh no, my mistake, it's not Thomas, it's someone else. I won't show you his name, but there's the trade. So I'm guessing that probably would have been the bar. It wasn't that good on here. It wasn't terrible, but I didn't have one on my main chart. It may work. I'd like to see that level go. Now, this chart on the left isn't showing a break. Touch, touch. It's actually fitting really nice here, so maybe it isn't. But I'd like it to come down here. If we can get a second entry long failed breakout, it's kind of that, isn't it? Leg and a leg. If we can come down here, break below here and get a nice bullish bar that fails out of this, that would be a second entry long. Whether it will or whether it'll creep up, I don't know. But, right. There are some buyers down here at 80 as well, which is a little bit low, which I prefer. That is a much better place to be in because you clearly push down below all that. So you can see 80 and 82.5. There are buyers at 80, 82.5. 82.5, I think is too high personally. But if we can get between this area, it may well go up. Who knows? But a leg down. I would prefer to come down here. See, Bart takes a lot of failed breakouts of ranges. He doesn't have a massive amount of success with them. I tend to avoid them. I prefer these smaller little ranges, the failed breakout of these. The trouble is, the bigger the range, if you've got a range like this, that size, the first tiny little breakout sometimes will get stopped out. It'll push up again and then find some more sellers up here. So the bigger this range, sometimes the further price goes before it snaps back into the range. Exactly the same with channels. The bigger the channel, the bigger the break. And I noticed he took 5 trades and won one of them. He only got out the one by the skin of his teeth. And he was counter-trend trading, really. So, but he does take a lot of those types of trades. The fail breakout, well, hopefully they fail. I tend to avoid them so much. I much prefer the smaller ones because a smaller breakout are much easier to kind of to see and to predict. So there's 179 contracts to buy there. You'll have cleared all liquidity if it does come. It may continue up. It's clearly quite a bullish day as it is, isn't it? Certainly this part we've been moving up since about, well, more or less when the market opened. So for 2 hours we've been moving up. So sometimes it will just continue. I was hoping it would snap back, clear liquidity, and maybe get some buyers involved. But there are sellers at 90, and sometimes it'll just pull them up. But there are still 183 contracts there, so... but no, it's not pulling back, it's just moving up. So maybe that ain't an overshoot. It's not necessarily acting like an overshoot, I don't think. Hard to say. Not today as yet, bud. But I'm hopeful. It's been nothing I can see, to be honest with you. Yeah, I don't think you've missed anything really, mate. Even with hindsight. There was kind of like 2 little legs back here and a relatively bullish bar, but this was right kind of... Where was the open here? I don't think it's terrible, but at the moment you don't really know where price is going. If that had been a bullish bar, that would have been better, but it was still quite a larger risk. But you can see the kind of 2 moves back. In hindsight, you can see it worked. Nothing else really. 1, 2, 3. That one, no, I wouldn't have taken. It's not a lot really as of yet. Try a channel that started from 6,940 down here. In about there. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, that looks alright actually. I've got the best of both worlds anyway. I've got the larger channel on there. I actually prefer that. Well spotted there, young man. It's touching nice there. Thought I could pull this down just a little fraction. Yeah, that looks okay actually. So, as I say, I've got the best of both worlds. I've got the larger one on here, which I can fall on if I need to. That fits nice as well. But yeah, I mean, if that was a bullish bar, I don't think it was terrible. It clearly worked, but with liquidity back here, I would have to wait for a move down. So I would have to kind of wait for this, really. That's what I was hoping, because there were buyers at 80. I would much prefer that. I wouldn't get in there generally. It did work, but a lot of times, I've seen this happen so many times, you jump in here or here, and this pulls back for that second leg down, stopping out that lot, and then there are buyers down there. So you can see right there, 80s, 181 contracts to buy there. That's where I will be looking to buy, right below all this lot. But the trouble is, if it's really bullish, sometimes it's clearly kind of riding up the EMA, and it's clearly riding up there. Sometimes it just will go, but it's too risky getting in here, to be honest with you. I've done it before in the past. It is a little bit congested. I would much prefer that drop. Pick up some buyers there, 2 legs down, right to the leg, and off we go. Jimmy, how you doing, bud? If you were teaching students Pat's system, where would you start? Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's not easy. It ain't easy, is it? Yeah. See, I'm not really a good teacher like that. I'm not kind of calm and collective. But yeah, it's not easy, is it? The thing is, with trading, it's kind of hard to teach. I think you've got to give people the basics, even though they probably won't do you much help, and then give them guidance. This is one of those things that you kind of give someone a hammer and nails and a saw and say, okay, go out there and see if you can make that look like a roof. You know what I mean? If you're a carpenter, but yeah, it's hard to teach this stuff, isn't it? I think you've got to give people a few pictures of setups, and then you've really got to go out there and just try it, haven't you? And just, it's not something that's easy to teach, is it? Yeah, I think you're right. Let's have a look. How to deal with trays that are not perfect entries. Yeah, it's so much about experience, isn't it? That's the key. There's no substitute for just, day after day sitting on the charts and taking them and learning how price moves and what areas are risky for what reason. You learn that after a while, don't you? Why is it too risky to trade here? Because, contextually, it's a little bit choppy, which makes trades a bit more risky, and so on and so forth. So, you're welcome. But it does come with time. It does come with time, but it takes longer than you think. And that's partly the frustrating bit. I'm actually on here. That's it there. He's doing a live thing now, actually. The trouble is he's okay. He's an all right guy. He knows what he's talking about, but he does it normally on a Sunday and on a Friday. Well, Friday I'm streaming and trading. I don't think there's a lot he can teach me. I don't think that I already kind of know. I have had a chat with him. He's told me what he thinks of my trading. He's told me, what you're doing. You can clearly see that. So, and not only that, I found that I think I'm better now taking weekends off, and he normally does a 3-hour talk on a Sunday evening, UK time. So I found I work better trading when I have the weekend with the family. And then he does Fridays, which is, trading time where I'm trying to make money as well. So I did message him, and he asked me if I wanted to be if I can have free access to it and be a, what's he call it? What do you call them? Admin type thing. Let's have a look. Oh, moderator. Yeah. There you go. He's got me. He's got me there as a moderator. So I nip in from time to time and have a chat, but I need to be focusing and doing my own thing with you guys. Admin, that's the word I'm looking for. How you doing, Sean? Sometimes I think you're being too cautious. Mate, I can't tell you how many times I've said that. And my answer to that is I would say you were safer to be on the side of caution rather on the side of careless. Yeah, so I think sometimes I'm better off not taking a trade because if something doesn't feel right. So I think you're much better to be overprotective than not protective at all. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't worry about that. Vladdy was a guy who is learnt Pats, and he got taught some by Mac. He used to send his charts to Mac, and Mac used to do a little video chart and send it back to him. So I think he was having lessons from Mac 2 or 3 years ago, but he's okay at what he does. He's good at what he does. He takes very specific type of trades, failures or reversal patterns he tries to take. You can join his Discord. I think it's $50 per tax. It's about $60 per month. Yeah, definitely be more cautious, mate. There's nothing wrong with that. You'll find your balance in time. You'll find that kind of middle ground. But yeah, I always think you're better to not take a trade and be a bit overcautious and just be too, bit careless. So don't worry about that, mate. That's the better side to be on for sure. He's okay, Vladdy, but he does sound stressed all the time. And he's not frightened to tell you what he thinks of you, that's for certain. So, but he's good at what he does. He knows what he's doing, that's for certain. But he does sound stressed all the time. He doesn't sound like a trader, or he didn't sound like he'd be good at trading. You learned anything new from Dan ever since you met him? People like Dan and Marco were my go-to people. I don't talk to him as much as I used to because I'm kind of doing my own thing now. But what I would say is if you're quite new to Pats, what I did for the first sort of year or two is I put my chart on every day and asked for feedback. And those were the two of the guys that I used to get regular feedback. And if I'm stuck for something and something's bothering me, I can't figure out what I'm doing, I've messaged both of them and they've always helped me and always got back to me. You're welcome, mate. So, yeah, they're experienced traders. They've been doing it for quite a while, and it's about finding those in your group that trade the same way and it's about helping each other, isn't it? The more experienced traders help the less experienced and so on and so forth. But I don't rely on them as much as I used to because I've kind of moved on a little bit now where I kind of know what I'm doing now. But they're always there if I need them. And I message them once in a while. I always, ask them how they are. And I like to keep in touch with people, especially people that have helped you. I chat with Marco a little bit more. Usually every couple of weeks I'll have a chat with Marco about how he's getting on and so on. And sometimes he'll send a photo of himself drinking a whiskey. I do get pictures from him now and again. But yeah, those are the people you want to get some help from as well. Obviously, I'll help you. I'm here. You can always message me anytime, but they are a good source of experience as well. So if you are new, people can quite, in my experience, people are quite happy to help you. Generally people like to get asked for advice, especially if they know what the right advice to give you. So, see, we got a little bull bar there. Unfortunately, it's only a first entry. We've kind of got a little channel up there like that with a breaker matching high. Now, although that looks like it's kind of bouncing off the right area, unfortunately, it's only a first entry, so it doesn't really follow the rules as such. tell you what I've found lately is CL chart has been absolute crap. It's very little volume today, to be honest with you. It's just not been that good. First time I ever looked at this, there was loads of setups, and I thought, I'm going to make a lot of money here. And just lately, the last couple of months, it's just not been that good. But it's nice to have a backup chart. If you're not seeing many setups on one chart, at least you've got a second chart. I'm full-time. Yeah, I've been full-time for, I'd say, about 18 months now, something like that, near enough. I kind of went from working full-time, and then when I realised what I wanted to do, I just wanted to commit as much time. So I gave up my job and started working. I think I was working Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday at one point. And then when I started making bits of money, I went to just working Saturday and Sundays. And then I think probably 18 months ago, I kind of went full-time. I was earning enough to kind of tide me over. But I haven't had a payment since November. I think I had $18,500 in November, and I've made nothing since. It's been slack for the last 2 months, so I'm just growing these 20 accounts anyway. And hopefully in another month, 6 weeks, I should be able to start taking something. So I do think that this looks right to me, and I'll tell you why. If you look at the 10,000 tick chart, you can see the move up and this nice channel here like that. That looks like this to me. So initially I had it from the bottom, and then someone mentioned that there. That looks much better, I think. Although on this chart, it kind of works. Oh, in fact, no, I've got that the same. I thought I had it from the bottom. No, it's from exactly the same place, actually, strangely enough. So when I said I got the best of both worlds, I actually had that same chart there. Thanks, bud. I appreciate that. So let's move some of these. So Bookmap is telling me there's 300 contracts for sale there, and there are 195 contracts for sale there, which is above price at the moment, and that's telling me price is likely to continue up to this area. Now, have we been up here recently? Yes, we have. So all-time highs are up here. This looks like the 3rd, is that right? So that was 6 days ago, last week sometime. Yeah, it's a real shame we didn't get a drop below there. A little bounce down here somewhere. 2 legs, that would have been lovely there. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Do you think it's better to withdraw 500 or trade more, try and withdraw more? I'm asking because I can withdraw 500 to keep trading. I feel like I will lose money from my pocket. That's a good question, that. If you're quite new to trading, or relatively new, and you've not had much in the way of payouts, I would take a payout because it does make you feel good. I'm at that level now where I have done that. Every time I've hit levels, I've taken money as much as I can. The trouble is that does sometimes can put you under a bit of pressure then. So if you're still relatively new, don't feel bad taking some money. So, I mean, you can't take money until you get to 2,600, but you can take 500 then. You've still got $2,100, so it's still a reasonable amount. When I get to that amount, I'll probably take 500. I'll see how I feel at the time. I'll see how I am financially, but you know, don't worry about taking some money. It's good to kind of reward yourself. So we're about to hit some sellers here and here. Now, personally, I wouldn't be selling. This is quite bullish at the moment, but you will have people that maybe try and pick tops or bottoms. Yeah, trade another 8 days. Yeah, just keep in mind when you trade those 8 days, 5 of those days you have to make $50 or more, but the remaining 3 of them you can flip. Now, if anybody doesn't know what that is, it just means you can switch onto a micro chart and just trade 1 tick. So whereas you win or lose $2 or $3. So if you're trying to get some money, as long as you make $50 or more on 5 of those 8 days, the other 3 you can flip. Depends what you like financially, bud. It doesn't hurt to, you know, grow those accounts. You know what I mean? So it's a personal thing, really. If you need the money, you know, don't hold back in making a bit. Last 3 years, it's all been mental. Yeah, it is mental, isn't it? Let me read that again. You were skilled enough to make money. I would probably say 2 or 3 years you would be probably making more money. But what makes it more difficult is because of the emotional side. So when things go wrong, that's when you tend to do some damage. So I think trading 2 or 3 years, you're going to have some skills. You're certainly going to have some skills, and you're gonna win more than you lose. But it is the psychological side that when you do lose, that's when things start to go wrong, or you try and snatch at trades, or you try and get your money back. So it's kind of just pushing through all that and getting to a stage where you start to get to that level of acceptance. And when you do start to accept it, and the first time you really trade your accounts properly and you make money, you do get that realization that when I do things the right way, it does work. And we've all heard that 1,000 times, haven't we? It's just doing it is a little bit harder than you think. I'm new trading since 2001. I still feel bad when I stop for the day. I have like unofficial profit target. Often I reach the first hour or two and I want to disconnect. Yeah. And go about my evening, but the same thing, you get that. Yeah. Okay. There are bits of software you can buy to stop you doing that. There's 2 I know of. Guardian Angel Trader. I'm having a bit of problem with that at the moment. I've had a bit of an error with my Ninja Trader and I can't get it working. But what you can do with that, there are 2. There are Guardian Angel Trader and there is QuantGuard. And you can set certain parameters that you can't bypass. So you could say 1 win a day and I'm blocked from taking another trade, or 1 loss a day and I'm blocked from taking another trade. Or you can have a monetary value that if I hit $300, it stops letting me trade till tomorrow. And you can set hours where you can trade to and stuff like that. So it's almost like putting a lock on the fridge when you're on a diet. So it physically stops you. But I know exactly what you mean. I know where you're coming from. I've sort of been there. But Yeah, that urge to come back's powerful. I can't tell you how many times I came back. I never used to come back when I'd won money. I used to come back when I'd lost it. You know, they say some traders get greedy and want to come back. I never had that. It was always when I had a loss, I had that urge to come back and try and make it back. And I'd say 8 times out of 10 when you do that, you end up losing more or blowing all your accounts. So, but I've got to that level now where I find trading a bit boring. So it doesn't really interest me coming back. The only reason I'll come back now in an evening is if I haven't taken a trade and it's been a slow day, I might give it a little bit more time. You're welcome, mate. It's the thing, I miss screen time, but somehow I feel I have to trade my way or no, and nobody else's. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. You know, you can always trade on a sim and come back a bit. I know what you're saying is though it's that urge to, and it's kind of getting that buzz out of trading that you get out of gambling. It's dangerous, really, but it's hard to learn to trade and not get that feeling. So trading and gambling are kind of very similar in a way. You get those same effects, that same panic, that same flight or flight, that same elation when you win money. Obviously, the difference is with trading and gambling is trading, you can get a considerable edge a lot easier. Now, there are, I don't doubt, professional gamblers out there. But it's easy to make money over time trading than it is gambling, of course. Search for Sarah Banwart or Banwart. Why you can't stay patient. Yeah, there's loads of, I spent the last 5 years searching, you know, YouTube and finding all sorts of stuff. The thing for me, one conclusion I've come to, I've watched 500 videos on you need to walk away, you need to do this, you need to do that. And the one thing they've neglected to do is explain how these things change. I can't tell you how many times I've gone out, bought myself a nice pad and paper just to get myself all clean and I'm going to journal. Never worked. I can't tell you how many times I said if I lose a trade, I'm going to walk away. I could never do it. The only realization I've come to over time is the only way to get better at the emotional side of trading is to expose yourself to it on a regular basis, and sooner or later it plays less of a part. But for me, the journaling, I'm not saying don't try it. I can't tell you how many times I went to bed with my earbuds on with some kind of hypnosis thing. Nothing worked. The only thing that worked for me is over time, it slowly got less and less. So it's like anything. If you expose yourself to fight or flight enough times, it slowly starts to have less of an effect. So that's the answer for me. It'll go in time. But yeah, definitely look into those. I mean, you know, some of the books most people mention, I've listened to them. I prefer audio books. I usually stick my earbuds on at night. But books like Best Loser Wins and Trading in the Zone, and there's quite a few books like that. They're definitely worth a read, but I wouldn't expect anything magic from them. It will go in time. But it's like anything where there's emotions. There's 2 examples I've used, boxing and skydiving. When I was young, I started doing a little bit of boxing. I remember the first time I went into a ring, I did everything by almost shit myself. But how can guys go in a ring and box and hold their punches and control their emotions? Exposure. You do it enough times, it'll start to have less of an effect and you'll panic less. And same, if everyone's ever done any skydiving, I remember the first time I got dropped out of a plane, I did a tandem. Scared the shit out of me. Well, the skydive didn't. Sitting in the plane waiting to jump out did. I was thinking everything I could to get out of it, but I couldn't go back on it. Is Guardian Angel good? Yeah, it is. Now, once in a blue moon, I get a little fault and I can't open NinjaTrader. But when you kind of reset everything, it works okay. But for the most part, yeah, it works okay. 99 days out of 100, in fact, more than that. Most of the time it works fine. I would certainly recommend it, absolutely. At the moment, I can't seem to delete it. I can't open it at the moment, but I can't seem to delete it. So setting the software up's a bit of a pain, but once it's up and running, it will absolutely save you money. Exposure therapy, absolutely. If you expose yourself to emotions, scary emotions, they'll start to go eventually. It's impossible to get that same fear every time. You know, I did some skydiving in my youth. Now, as I say, it's a weird thing when you're sat in the door and part of you wants to do it, another part of you is thinking, what the hell am I doing? But once you've done it so many times, it gets easier and easier. And that's kind of the same with anything that's scary. And as that kind of, you know, brings up that kind of emotional fight or flight. And trading's a perfect example of it. And when you panic, you blow accounts. It kind of comes with the territory. But over time, with persistence, it will eventually start to become less problematic. And then I feel now I'm in control, not my emotions. But it does take time. I can't tell you how many impulsive times I just jumped straight in. But it will go in time. Stress inoculation. A lot of people talk about stress as being bad, don't they? But I heard a doctor say stress is okay. It's good for you a little bit. It's when it's uncontrollable and uncontrolled. You know, we've all heard the saying, stress is a killer. Too much of it is bad for you, but a little bit, I think it keeps you on your toes, doesn't it? Stops you from doing stupid things. QuantGuard. Now, Guardian Angel Trader, I think, is about $350. It's a one-off payment. QuantGuard is a monthly payment. It's between $75 and $150. So you've got to keep that in mind. Now, for me to trade 20 accounts, I'd have to do the $150 a month. So if you're a seasoned trader and you maybe want a few more features, I would probably say go with a QuantGuard. But if you're relatively newer and you've not used one before, I'd absolutely go with the Guardian Angel Trader. I had mine set to 1 loss a day, and it greys all this out. I have it set to 1 contract. I can't trade more. So it basically puts a lock on your refrigerator when you're on a diet that you haven't got the key to. There are timeouts as well you can set. So after a winning trade, you can set a 10-minute timeout where you can't trade. Nutty uses QuantGuard. In fact, I spoke to Nutty over the weekend. I messaged Nutty over the weekend and asked him about it. Because he uses it, doesn't he? He ain't got back to me yet. When did I message him? It might have been Sunday morning. He ain't got back to me yet. Have a look. Yeah, he ain't got back to me yet. I just asked him what he thought about it. As far as I know, what I like about it is it's a monthly payment. You can cancel at any time, and usually it's like you pay for what you get. But I do hear good things about it. I've been watching a few videos about it lately. He trades heart stopping size when he enters Serious and standalone, single off itself. You on about Dan, are you? Daniel Q. Shin. He trades a lot of contracts, I believe. Someone told me he was trading 100 contracts at the moment. I don't know how true it is, but I think Dan told me once he risked 5%, I think, on a trade. He trades for 6 tick, Dan does, so if that's the Dan you're talking about, I kind of go for double that, so I need to be a little bit more selective. He trades 40, does he? Yeah, I mean, if you look at some of Mac's older videos going back a few years, he was trading 40 contracts then. I don't know what he's trading now. Someone did say he was trading 100 contracts a year ago or something. I don't know how true that is, but... Dan is this guy here, him. He's been trading Pats, I think, about 6.5 years, I think. He's one of the guys that helped me. So on the Facebook group, he's a monitor or whatever they call him. And Marco is as well. I think Marco actually owns the Facebook group. But they're two that have helped me over the last 5 years. But yeah, if anybody doesn't know about the Facebook group, I'll show you. There you go. That's the Facebook group there. So if you're not a member of that, I would absolutely join that. It's the best thing I ever did. It's just called Max Price Action Trading. There's Marco there. Dan doesn't post as much as he used to, but Marco posts every day, puts his chart on every day. But I put my chart on here for the first 2 years of my trading and just asked for feedback. But it's a great community, actually. There's some really good people in there. That's a really neat looking channel, actually, isn't it, that? So how far are we off all-time highs? 40 points, 40 odd points, not many, not much. It doesn't work, no. Let me have a look. Okay, I've just messaged down now. I'll find one. So, still a bunch of sellers up there. They've been there for quite a while, they have now. So, sometimes the longer they've been sat there, the harder it becomes to get up there. So, depending on what happens here, we may get a break. So, I'm going to put this here like this, because I think we're going to get a break here. So, see what happens. And if we do, I would expect it to get down here as well. Below here, because there'll be liquidity there. As I say, let's have a look. Sorry about that. Here we go. Copy link. Here we go. I'll post one here if anyone is interested. Paste. There you go. That's the new one. Yeah, there's a new link there. That'll take you there. Now, I'll have to put that on the back of my video later. Let's have a look. It's getting slow now, isn't it, this? Let's have a look here. So we've got buyers 95 to 92.5. So there's 92.5, which is below there. And there's some at 95. I wouldn't buy there personally. Now, the reason I think we may get a break here is this channel's fitting nice. We're at the top, we're at the top, we're at the top. Look what's happening. We're struggling, aren't we? Now, it may push up and get up here. But you can see how we're riding that line. That's telling me we're losing a bit of momentum. So, unless it shoots up, we may get a break here. And that's a fair sized channel, so I'd expect it to get at least down here and clear any previous liquidity. In fact, let's put that down there. So if this does come down, my guess is it'll have a break. But you can clearly see it's trying multiple times to get through there. If it does, it may push up okay. But there are a bunch of sellers there, 340 contracts sat there, so see what happens here. Okay, excuse me just a second. Aye. Okay, we clearly starting to struggle a little bit. Starting to go a bit sideways, so it may still push up. It depends. We've got a lot of sellers there. Sometimes you'd think it'd be easy to get up there, but we're struggling a bit. Is it only $500 can be withdrawn when you reach? Correct. You've always got to keep $2,100 in there, so yeah, for sure. %30 rule. So if you've got $3,000 in your account, profit in your account, your biggest day can't be more than 30% of that. So let's say, for instance, $3,000 in your account, 30% is $900. Is that about right, is it? Yeah, 30% is $900. So your biggest day can't be more than 900. If it is, you got to grow that account a little bit more. So they've got these rules at Apex. They've got the, I think they call it the MAE or MEA rule, where let's say I took a trade here on one account, panicked and moved my stop, and it came down here $1,500, $2,000 in the red, and then eventually moved up into profit, and you got lucky. There's a limit what you can take out of that account. I think for the first 2 months, they limit you to profit above that. Maximum adverse, yeah. Keep an eye at that. It's a better idea to have that because it stops you taking big risks and it reduces the amount of money you can take on that particular account. So don't think those accounts are to stop you making money. They're not. They're to make you a better trader, and they will do so. Don't, look at them with a positive way. Now, there is technically a second entry long here, and that may work. It's not in a bad place here. The only concern I have is there are buyers here and sellers here. That may, you could argue there's a triple test there. I don't think it's a terrible trade. But there are buyers here and we are losing a bit of momentum, so it's not a huge risk. What I like is we haven't broken. There's been liquidity there. We've had a double bounce there, so Exclusion, yeah, 30% max, yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, if you take a risk, a silly risk, and I've done it myself, you say, let's say for instance, you sell a price keeps going up and it goes, say you end up going $2,000 or whatever, close to your max, and it comes down and you end up making profit. They won't allow you to take that amount of profit up until for 2 payments. And it's not a bad thing. Don't look at that as a bad thing. It does make you trade better. And if you trade right and follow the rules, you'll get paid with Apex every time. Okay, so if you've only got $100, no, it applies to the drawdown, which is $2,600. So if you've got $2,600 or less of drawdown, the most you can risk in a day, I think, is $750. So yeah, it goes on your drawdown. So yeah, if you've got 50,100, your drawdown is still $2,600. So I think 750 risk. So you can go into the red if you like. And then once you start to get profit, if you've got $10,000 profit, you can make $3,000 in a day because it's still that 30% or under. So the bigger your account is, the more you can technically risk. I wouldn't suggest it, of course. If I can't, what should I do with a prop firm if I don't want discipline rules at all and no education at all? What should I do with a prop firm if I don't want discipline rules at all and no education at all? Someone said top step. Yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest with you, bud. I mean, really, as a trader, these rules, I mean, the Apex, one, they're meant to save them money, and two, they will make you a better trader. I know about my risk management. I know everything. Can't wait. I have patience and so on. Yeah. I mean, I think they all have rules to a certain degree. They certainly have the what they call their windfall type stuff. So, I think, you know, like, take profit trader, there's only so much profit I think you can make in a day. I think they all kind of go with that. I'm not too sure, mate, to be fair, because most of my prop trading is been done with Apex. I did have 5 accounts and got 4 of them with Traderify, but the most you can make Traderify with a straight to funded account is 20% in the day. So yeah, someone mentioned, Kurt mentioned Top Step. So I've never used Top Step, to be fair. I don't know why. I just never have. So what am I doing here? It looks basically on this chart like we got a small break here. Now, or is there a break? It's hard to say, really. It's negligible. You can adjust it. But I'm just going to leave that as it is, so at least I'm aware of it. But if that pushes up, I'll be amazed. If it pushes up, chances are it's not a break. See how long those sellers at 7,000 have been there. Sometimes the longer they've been there, the harder it is to get through. I still think we're going to have a break here. That's why I've got that box there. Because if we have a break with such a big channel, I'd at least expect it to come down and clear liquidity. So this is kind of what I expect. Because we seem to be losing momentum. We'll see anyway. There is kind of a failure there, but it's not a good one. There's a second entry long. You wouldn't really be going along with that bar anyway. It is a second entry long stroke failure, but that's now an engulfing bar there, so that's out the rules anyway. They're kind of unreliable, but I mean, it may work if it is a break, which is starting to look like. I'd expect a little bit more than a tiny break like that and a new high. But depending on how you look at things, there's always a possibility it could fail and push up. Depends how you've got this channel. If you move this channel a bit or have a slightly different channel, you know, you could even kind of do something like that. It doesn't look terrible, so you just never quite know. But my guess is we're going to get into this box. Yeah, let's have a look. Yeah. That's his there, mate. I don't know what you want me to look at. I'd get some friend messages. I didn't even realise I was getting messages until recently. But yeah, sometimes people will pretend to be so-and-so, so you've got to be a bit careful, haven't you? It's not him, is it? Yeah, you've got to be a bit careful, haven't you? Okay, so now this looks like a break on here. As I said before, this is where I think price is going to come down to. To me, we look like we're losing momentum there, and when that happens, quite often that leads to a break. It's been quite a strong trend, so I wouldn't be surprised if it does break here. Let me have a look. So we've gone up in this one push, 60 points. Not as much as I thought, actually. Yeah, I don't know why people do it. It doesn't make sense. Unless they're trying to get money out of you at some point. I had my Facebook hacked over the weekend, to be fair. I had a few messages from people saying, have I sent them a friend request? So it's the first time it's ever happened to me. So I just literally changed my password and logged out. Yeah, what do they get? What do they get out of it? I can't see the point. Unless they're going to try and con you into spending money, I can't see what they can physically do to you or your account. Let's have a look. I don't know, mate. Let me have a look. I think it is Papa somehow, something like that. Where do I look? Let me have a look. Doesn't say, does it? I think it is something like that. I'm not sure where I look. Yeah, I don't think Dan, generally as a rule, is friend thing is people on here, I don't think. Down here as well is VWAP. I know I don't use VWAP, but I like to be aware of where it is, and it's right at the bottom here as well. So, as I say, nice channel up, clearly looking like it's struggling a bit here with momentum, so it's looking like it's having a break. We've got a small break so far. Now, I'd expect a considerably more, and if we get a couple of legs down here, I'd be looking at it at least clearing this area here. Whether it'll get down any further, I don't know. But my guess is with a move up like that, I would suggest down here, it may even come more. There's only 30% level there, 38%. So it may come down here before. I'll be surprised, actually. This is kind of where I'd like to see it come down to. It depends, really. Obviously, the bigger the channel, the bigger the break. I don't know whether that makes a difference how wide it is either. If it was something like that, it may come a bit more, but we'll see. No consistency. No, they've got to have something. The thing is with prop firms, because it costs you a fraction of the amount of money to get the same drawdown, you can take big risks and get away with it, and in some cases make some money out of it. Look at Alpine. You know, when they changed the rules, part of the reason they did that was because of Alpine. He was trading without a stop. And generally, he was making money. And people were copying him. And I remember Apex came out and said all of a sudden they were paying out stacks of money, because the thing is with Apex, because they grew so quick, they didn't have the kind of the monitoring software to, you know, they just assume people were following the rules. When you grow too quick, you just haven't got that manpower and the equipment really to sort of monitoring it. But, you know, I understand why they did it, why they had that kind of mass denial, because people were blatantly breaking the rules and getting away with it. So at some point, it had to come to an end. And kind of rather than, I think Apex were just guilty of bad timing, really. They started adhering to the rules without telling anybody, really, and I think that's why they got a bit of a bad rap for it. But, you know, you've got to have rules, and people can't play the game. You know, you're in the business of working with traders, and traders have to follow rules, and if you're taking big gambles and getting away with it, it was a matter of time before it was kind of going to come to an end. So it had to happen, and it was unfortunate that they didn't tell anyone, but it never affected me personally. But I love you, you know, but it was just the narrative. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're a prop firm and you're going to continue to make money, you have to pay traders that can trade. Like any company, companies look for ways of saving money, and if they can legitimately stop payments to people who break the rules, you can understand why they would do it, and I absolutely get that. But if you follow the rules, you will get paid. because they have to, because if they stop paying people, they'll go out of business, they'll get a bad name and it'll disappear. So they still have to. So I get why they have rules, because in the real world, you could never trade your own account like you trade a prop firm. You have to have rules and you have to have risk management. Denied payout requests due to different contract sizes. Okay, so initially you're limited to 5 contracts. Now, you could trade 10 contracts, but when you're in a PA, up until a certain amount, I think it's when you get above 2,600, I think you can adjust it, but check on that. But you're limited to 5. So let me tell you what I did. Before Christmas, I think it was about October time, I was trading an evaluation and I didn't take it back to 10. I had it on 10 contracts and I opened up, I think, about 8 accounts on 10 contracts. I realized what I did and immediately closed it. I think I made about $75 or something like that. I got denied. And I kind of knew it was going to happen, but they denied me. So I followed the rules for the next 8 days, no issues, required a payment, and I got $18,500. So if you're breaking the rules, they're going to stop you from a payment. But some companies have removed any profit you've made if you take a big risk, but they give you the benefit of the doubt and saying, as long as you trade properly for the next 8 days, we'll pay you. But they have this, I think it's called an MAE or MEA rule. And if you go, let's say I risk my accounts, move my stop and almost get stopped and almost blow my accounts, and eventually it comes around, I shouldn't have got away with that, but I got lucky. And what they'll do is they'll stop you, and any profit you made then, they'll make you trade, I think, for a month or 2. They'll only pay you what you make on top of that for the first 2 months, and then they reset it and you can withdraw it all. But these rules are going to, you don't want to be making money by playing risk on the numbers. You want to be trading properly, because at some point you're going to start to trade your own account. So you need to get into good habits and rule following and risk management. Even though they're prop firms and they don't cost you the same amount of money as your own account, you still really want to be trading with those rules. Otherwise, you're gambling and playing the numbers, and that's never going to have a good ending. So I get when people are frustrated they don't get paid, but it's because they've broken rules. So, I wouldn't worry about it. Just keep trading normally. Now, all companies look for ways of saving money, and as long as it's done fairly, it's okay. And if people are taking big risks to try and get lucky, I understand why they deny them. Alpine simply the system, yeah, because Apex didn't have the manpower because they grew too quick. People got away with big payments. And as soon as they realise, you can understand why they started stopping payments. I can absolutely get it. Because people were trying to play the system. And in the real world, you can't do it. You couldn't do it with your own accounts. You can't take big risks and try and get lucky with your own accounts. It's not going to work. I don't blame Alpine for it. He found a loophole and was getting away with it. So, loopholes are loopholes. You can't blame people for exploiting it, but they can't moan when they get refused a payment because the company realise and start, refusing payments. But if you follow the rules, I tell you something now, I've never had anybody say to me, I followed the rules perfectly and I got denied. I genuinely have never heard that. So if you follow the rules, you'll get paid. They just have got a bit of a bad name because they had that big denial. But they just denied traders who were playing the system. It's just a bit unfortunate. They'd have been better off, saying from the beginning of the month, if you break a rule now, you're going to be held accountable. So we're clearly getting this break that I kind of expected, because you can clearly see we're not getting up to the tops like we did here, here, and here. So this is losing a little bit of momentum. So it's just how far it's going to pull back, and at what point is it going to start to move up. Sometimes these bigger channels, timing it right to get in is often a bit more tricky. I prefer the small channels like that, little second entry and then a new low, but these bigger channels are harder to time. Yeah, see, Thomas Wade was considering a higher low here. 5:36. So 7 minutes ago, I wouldn't be considering a lower high there. See, Thomas Wade doesn't seem to notice these, or he still takes trades. He doesn't seem to. I never hear him do this. I put these in all the time, and 9 times out of 10, I'm right. But he was looking for a higher low here, and sometimes we get a move up, and what happens? Traps traders going long and snaps back. So just keep that in mind. If we're not getting to the tops, we're losing momentum, and most of the time that leads to a break, which we've had. So if you expect this, it saves you getting into a losing trade trying to go long there. Someone's put measured move reach. Yeah, absolutely. But to be honest with you, because of the size of that, I expect more than just this little break. Bigger the channel up, the bigger the break. Small channel down, small break, new low, big channel up, bigger break. Now, it may push up. Sometimes it just does. But my guess is whenever we have a channel that big, usually we get something a little bit larger. Having said that, on Bookmap, we've got buyers about there. We've not got a huge amount of buyers down here, which is what I'd expect. Having said that, I don't generally follow VWAP, but that's, I believe, what VWAP is, and that's about 82 and a quarter. So VWAP is down here. But my guess is it's going to get into that blue box. And ideally down here, certainly clearing some of this liquidity. Yeah, we could end up doing something like this. Let's see. Oh, this has gone slow now, hasn't it? Yeah, there is 2 little measured moves down there, but for me, it's not enough, really. I believe this is going to come down lower. It's not enough of a break, really, to encourage buyers in, really. I'd want to clear some of this out, personally. Maybe something larger with a break up here and then down for a second leg. So I wouldn't be surprised if this comes down much further. Yes, if you look on the 10,000 tick chart, we've got this channel up and here's the break. This is coming down in one little leg for me. This is, see, I'd expect to break in another leg. At least that's where I'll be looking to clear liquidity here. There's a higher low there on the 10,000 tick chart. So bar there, higher low there. I'd at least expect it to come down below there, which is 81.75. which I'm guessing is close to where that bottom is. 81, yeah. So, well, I'd say 81.75 is about right because it's below any previous liquidity here, you can see. So, with this chart and the 10,000 tick chart, makes perfect sense. That's the low there where I expect liquidity. You can clearly see it on a slightly larger scale here, but that's coming down in this channel here. So my guess is this is going to come down some more. It's fitting quite nice there. And if we have a break, I'd expect a new low. So even if we say the break's going to be about now, that's going to kind of get us into the right zone, isn't it? So channel, break, new low. So my guess is we're looking at some further stuff. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. Excuse me a sec. Okay, so now Bookmap is starting to give us something here. So that looks like 85.25. So there are buyers down here. I'd expect it to come a little bit lower personally, but you can see now there's VWAP there, and there are buyers down here. So I'd expect a little bit of something and then some further down, personally. Yeah, Dan hasn't taken anything today. He's finished now for the day, or he's going to. There hasn't been a lot, to be fair. Most of the day, well, certainly since the main open, we've been stuck in this little channel here, and you can clearly see there isn't. I mean, there's a couple of legs down there. You may have gone in there, but I had this channel here, so for me, I prefer it to get down here, but you can clearly see there's two legs down. It did work, but failing that, there's nothing else I can really see. God, it's going slow now, is it? I think I'm going to knock on the head there, I think. Okay, so no trades today. I might come back after some dinner. Come back in an hour for an hour later. But yeah, I mean, we've been up most of the day, to be fair. Certainly since the open was around about here, we've had these kind of moved up. But if you hang around, there may be something. You never quite know. There might be a trade around the corner, but I'm getting a bit hungry now. How long I've been here for? 3.5 hours on stream, so I'm going to go and have myself some dinner, so I might pop back for an hour later. So if you're carrying on trading, best of luck. I appreciate your company. I'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll do it all again. So have a great evening, stay safe. We'll catch up tomorrow. Bye for now.